115 people vanished into thin air. No bodies found. No signs of struggle. Only one word was left behind.
You've probably heard the story of the lost colony of Roanoke. It's America's oldest and maybe spookiest cold case. But what if I told you the whole lost part of the story is wrong? What if the colonists were never really lost at all? Well, let's follow the clues and see where they actually lead.
All right, so to really get this, we need to know that our story doesn't begin with a disappearance. Nope, it begins with a return, a really, really desperate one. So I want you to picture this. It's August 1590. A man named John White, who's the governor of the Roanoke Colony, is finally stepping back onto shore. And when I say finally, I mean it. He's been gone for 3 agonizingly long years, stuck in England because of a war with Spain. And you can bet that every single day of those 3 years, he was just hoping, praying that his people were okay. You see, for him, this wasn't just official business. This was deeply personal. He was coming back for his daughter and for his granddaughter, Virginia Dare. I mean, think about that. She was the very first English child born in the Americas. She was a symbol for this whole new future. But the bustling little settlement he remembered, it was just gone. The houses had been carefully taken apart. There was no smoke from cooking fires, no sound of people working or kids playing. There was just this deep, eerie silence. Which brings us to the big question, right? Where did 115 men, women, and children go? And here's the really strange part. There were no bodies, no signs of a battle or a struggle. It's like they just vanished into thin air. But they weren't completely in the dark. In the middle of all that emptiness, they did find one thing. One single solitary clue. Yep, etched right into one of the main fence posts surrounding the settlement was a word. Just one word, and nothing else. And that word was Croatoan. Now, for centuries, that word has sounded so mysterious, so creepy, right? But here's the twist. To John White, standing there on that day, it wasn't creepy at all. In fact, it was the exact opposite. He actually wrote in his own journal that he greatly joyed. He was overjoyed when he saw it. So why? Because it wasn't a warning. It was a message they had all agreed on before he left. See, Croatoan wasn't some spooky cryptic code. It was an address. It was the name of a nearby island, what we call Hatteras Island today. And more importantly, it was the home of a friendly Native American tribe, their allies. So this carving was basically the 16th century version of leaving a note on the door saying, "Hey, we moved, find us over here." So John White knew exactly where to go. Problem solved. Or not. As they tried to sail to Croatoan, a massive hurricane-like storm hit. It was so bad, the ship nearly sank. The crew pretty much staged a mutiny and said, "No way, we're not dying out here." They forced him to turn around and sail all the way back to England. And just like that, the trail went cold.
But a good mystery never really dies. And centuries later, the clues started popping up again, pointing right back to the place John White wanted to go all along.
So after 1590, there was basically silence for more than 100 years. Then, in 1701, an explorer named John Lawson heard some really interesting local stories. But it would take all the way until our own time, the 21st century, for archaeology to finally find the physical evidence to back it all up.
So what Lawson reported was fascinating. He was on Hatteras Island, talking to the native people there, and they told him that some of their ancestors were white people who could talk in a book, a great way of saying they could read. And get this, Lawson noted that many of them had gray eyes, which was totally unique to their tribe in that whole region.
Now, for a long, long time, that was just a cool story, anecdotal evidence. But then, modern archaeologists finally started to dig on Hatteras, right in the spot where the main Croatoan village used to be. And what they found? Oh, it was a game changer. I mean, they were pulling English sword hilts and native pottery out of the exact same layer of dirt. They found the post holes of English square houses right next to native round ones. They found a tiny metal clasp from an English woman's clothes from the 1580s. The proof was right there in the ground. These two cultures were living together side by side. But wait, because the story gets even better. It turns out Hatteras Island might not have been the only destination. A new clue was found, hiding in plain sight this whole time, on one of John White's original maps.
Using all this cool imaging tech, experts looked underneath a little paper patch on the map. And hidden there for over 400 years was a symbol for another fort, about 50 miles inland. This spot, which they call Site X, actually backs up later stories from the Jamestown settlers, who heard rumors of English survivors living with another inland tribe. It seems like the colonists may have split up.
So when you put all the pieces together, the message on the post, the oral traditions, the archaeology, the secret map, a whole new story starts to take shape.
This isn't a ghost story about a colony disappearing without a trace. It's a survival story. These were real people facing starvation and uncertainty who made a choice to join their allies, to adapt, and to start a new life.
So in the end, they weren't lost at all. They were absorbed. They were welcomed in by the Croatoan people, and it looks like they became part of the community, building a new, blended culture together.
And this really gets to the heart of why this matters. A researcher named Scott Dawson puts it perfectly. When we obsess over the spooky mystery, we're actually ignoring the real, incredible story of the Croatoan people, a story of alliance and of compassion. We're robbing them of their history.
So maybe we've been asking the wrong question for 400 years. The question isn't, where did the last colony go? The real question is, what happened next? How did they survive by creating one of the very first blended communities in North America? They didn't vanish. Their story just became part of a much bigger one.